The Boundary Park Alert System is sponsored by Pendle New Tech, a family-run Lancashire business you can rely on for everything fire safety related, including supply and installation, maintenance, testing, certification, alarms, risk assessments, like I said, anything fire safety related. But what do I know? Visit pendlenewtech.com and they'll sort you right out. Check the show notes for more information. This is a test of the Boundary Park Alert System.
I'm just here with a man who said he's never heard or listened to the Boundary Park Alert System. Hang your head in shame, sir. What's your name?
Andy.
Full name so we can shame you on the podcast live this week.
Andrew Brown.
So what do you think so far at the start of this season?
I'm not as negative as some people that I speak to. I think we got promoted ahead of schedule last season, and I think main aim this year is to stay up, where I think we're grinding it out. I think we need more firepower up front, 100%, but we've only lost one game yet, 4 draws. I think a couple of wins it turns round, but like everyone, I'm concerned with the age of the squad and the injuries. I think Caprice will help us because he brings a lot of running. I think Pet will help us. I do think we'll improve once a few injuries are passed, kind of thing. But I still think, like a lot of people, we need more firepower, don't we?
What's your name, pal?
Brian Lyons.
Right, Brian, start of the season so far, you happy with it?
Yep.
What's your thoughts for today?
Well, we need 3 points today. We're getting too many draws at the moment. Yeah, 3 points will do us today.
What do you think about this striker situation? There's potentially someone coming in.
Could do with one.
It just seems that Fondop and Quigley aren't working well together, are they?
Well, not together, no. Quigley's doing okay on his own, apparently, but could have done with Norwood with him, really, but...
Yeah, well, I watched Norwood last week and he didn't really impact the game. He did a couple of bits, but I think someone young, a bit more pacey coming in. Is that what we need?
Yeah, someone younger, a bit more faster.
Who's been your standout player for Latics this season so far?
Well, Quigley's been all right.
Yeah.
You know,
I personally think Conlon.
Conlon's quite well, yeah. Quigley's impressed me.
So the score today, then, what do you think it's going to be?
3-1 Oldham.
3-1. Quigley hat-trick?
No, Quigley scored in 90 minutes.
Right, very good. Cheers, mate. Thank you, Tap. I've just been beckoned over near the breakfast brunch fine dine catering by a man chomping on a sausage a foot long. What's your name, mate?
Adrian Williams.
You're on the podcast now with Sexy Dave for the Fanzoni. Right, what are your thoughts so far this season?
So far this season, not too bad. Apart from, I think, and everyone's been saying it, the first 20 minutes against Swindon, was it Swindon?
Yeah.
And get still mixed up with the teams from last season, Swindon, Southend. Yeah, apart from the first 20 minutes there, I think we've not been too bad. We need to find someone up front, though, definitely.
Well, there's rumours that someone's coming in. I don't know who it is.
I've heard, but there's a bit secretive, so I'm a little bit dubious about that. But we'll find out when that happens, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be Monday, and it closes on Monday at 7 o'clock. So, what would you want? Someone young, bit snappier, Championship loanee, something like that?
I'm thinking on the likes of Ollie Pearce.
All right, okay. I think
is he gone to Swindon?
No, that was Ollie. That was Ollie. I can't remember his name. From
Palmer.
Ollie Palmer. Yeah, he's gone there. So yeah, we've got Ollie Pace from rumoured. Michael Mellin Jr. as well.
I've not seen him play and I've not really watched him, but obviously I know it's obviously his son, so he's not going to back someone just on nepotism alone, is he?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. Right, what's your prediction for today, mate?
10-0. No, probably going to go back 2-1, I think, to us.
Hello and welcome to the Boundary Park Alert System with me, Matt Dean. I'm joined again, thankfully, by Andy Halliwell. All right, Andy?
Hi, mate. How are you?
I'm all right, yeah. I'm all right. We struggled through the last couple of weeks, but we made it.
Yeah. I listened to him. They sounded fine. They sounded all right.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it enough times now to be able to, wing it, if need be. But yeah, so it's good to have you back, mate. Where have you been?
I've been to Mallorca.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's very nice. 2 weeks out there in 30-degree heat, as you can tell from my bronze Mediterranean.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how does your, let's say, fair complexion cope with that? Do you spend a lot of time under umbrellas, or do you just leather on the factor 50?
You leather on the factor 50 because your kids demand that you run around with them. But I don't look like I've been on holiday, do I? Because my skin colour just doesn't change. It doesn't make any difference.
Well, it also keeps you youthful looking. Sun ages you, Andy. So it's good. No one would know that you're nearly 60. Honestly. Anyway, so it's good to have you back. It's going to be good to get stuck into the football. We do have a returning fan guest, but I'll hand over to you to do the questions.
We'll do we may well have asked you the questions before, but we'll go through them again anyway. When was your first game, fan guest?
Officially, I can't remember if it was a pre-season friendly or a fixture, but I remember us getting beat 4-0 at home off Aston Villa.
Ooh, what year would that be?
I want to say 95, 96. I'm sure it was pre-season. It might be wrong, that, actually. I don't know.
I don't remember us playing Villa in a pre-season friendly.
I don't know.
We need Paddy or Prendergast to tell us what year that was, but I don't remember that. Yeah.
I definitely remember seeing a 0-0 at home to Portsmouth. I definitely remember that.
So either way, it's off to an absolutely glorious start.
Yeah.
I'm proper reaching there because they're games I remember being at, but don't actually remember the games, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Who was your first favourite player?
Craig Dudley.
Craig Dudley. Yeah, I mean, he was all right, wasn't he? Just about all right. That shows the dearth of talent we had at that point, I guess.
He was the first name on the back of a shirt I had, so
yeah. Still lives in the area, doesn't he? Roughly.
Lives, works, boozes. Yeah, I think it was all the stuff in the area. Yeah,
I've seen him about. Yeah, nice bloke. What is your favourite ever away game?
Oh, York City away in the playoffs, just gone.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. If you wanted a game off me that wasn't the in the playoffs, then probably not the full game, but one of my best memories at an away game was Wayne Andrews' goal at Wigan after about 15 seconds. I still remember that. Still gives me goosebumps when I think about it. So probably stick that in there outside of York, but York by a mile. Yeah,
York is one of those that'll live in the memory for me for not being there. Yeah. So,
oh no.
Yeah, terrible.
But to be fair, that's the majority of people, Andy. It
is. Yeah, it is. Well, I could have been. It just would have taken days off work. But yeah, it was amazing on the telly. And then give us a little known fact about yourself, fan guest.
A little known fact about myself is
a little unknown, depending on how you view it.
I'll give you a known one. I'm a reformed character since the promotion.
We'll get stuck into that.
And the York game, people will probably recognise your voice. A lot of people will anyway. But if we say Nipplegate, that'll also tie you to a particular image from that York game, which many will have seen, no doubt. A viral image.
Weren't me.
Well, so, who are you anyway?
Who are you?
Ex known only as Gazapalooza.
Gazmelia. Welcome to the pod, Gaz. Nice to have you on.
Yeah, cheers, fellas.
Yeah, good to have you on, mate. We selected a game that, what in your words was what? You wouldn't be. How would you'd be avoiding feeling what afterward? That's why we chose this one, a home game, a sensible home game, basically. Yeah, you were on before. You'd been. I can't remember which game you'd been to, but
we'd done a booze bus, hadn't we? And then I'd come on. Was it Barnet?
I don't know, mate. I don't know, but you had not had enough sleep and had probably just one pint too many. So it was a rough one for you. So presumably you're feeling tickety-boo this morning?
Yeah, I feel great this morning. Had a couple of pints after the game and then made the trip down to Stoke-on-Trent to see the in-laws. Actually went out for a pint last night in the local down here with my Latics shirt on. A couple of Stoke fans come up to us, really nice chaps actually. First thing he said to us was, he said, so who's your rivals now then? Who's your rivalry with? And I was kind of caught me on the back foot, really. He said, is it Rochdale? And I said, well, I suppose going off where we've been the last 10 years, it probably is. What do you think?
It depends on your era, doesn't it? If you chat to somebody who went in the 70s, they'll say Bolton. If for me, through most of my childhood, it was either Blackburn or City. So I every time we played Blackburn or City, it was a big game, and that's who I view as my rivals. But yeah, I mean, over the last 20 odd years, it's been more likely been Rochdale and Bury, really, out of that period of time. You've got to be realistic. I don't want it to be, but no. I guess that's what it is.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does change, guys, doesn't it? That's the thing. Like, it does change over eras because.
Well, that's exactly what I was just going to say. So I returned the question and said, "Well, who's yours?" And he said, "Well, it would be Port Vale." He said, "But we haven't played them competitively in over 20 years." Wow. He said, "So probably West Brom now, who they actually played yesterday and who beat them 1-0." But yeah, I think. That was my answer. Rochdale. I was a bit flattened by it.
I guess today you'd want it to be, wouldn't you? You'd want it to be Wigan, Bolton, and Stockport.
You look up to as League One is now, and Huddersfield are up there as well, aren't they? Just over the Pennines. So League One, as it stands, is pretty tasty for us potentially.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the potential of us getting to League One before the likes of Bolton and Stockport move into the Championship. And I think it's kind of inevitable that Stockport will at some point pretty soon. And we'll start with Gillingham, which was yesterday's game. Gaz is a self-proclaimed reformed character. I'm not so sure if 5 games in last season he would have been shouting sack him, but there was a time in last season he'd be shouting sack him, and I'm just wondering if I know you've described yourself as zen there recently. How are you feeling after yesterday's performance and result?
There's a few things I want to mention about it. Really, I'm definitely still seeing the positives, so trying to look for the positives. It was frustrating yesterday in how we lost. But again, we've played well. I know there's no points for playing well, but we've created chances. We started yesterday. This is the biggest positive for me is we didn't have to change after 20 minutes. So yesterday we got plan A right from the start, and that was with the 4-3-3. Now I'll let you into a little bit of a something. If we'd have gone 4-4-2 with Conlon and Woods from the start, I'd have probably ripped that Zen tag straight off, and I think I'd have lost my head, knowing how it's not worked for us. So I'm really pleased that actually he went with the 4-3-3 that finish, because that extra man in the midfield is what we've needed. So we didn't have to change after 20 minutes, which is a positive. We're starting now to create chances, which is, again, another positive. I can't foresee, even if we don't sign a striker, which we absolutely need to do, I'm not going to contest that, you will surely start scoring goals and winning games if you keep getting chances like this. You can't miss them over 46 games. The odds of probability are just too stacked against that to happen. So I did think that the 2 chances Quigley got with his head, the 2 crosses, there is bread and butter. And I was a little bit disappointed that there was no conviction, there was no real venom in any of those headers. He was a bit too polite with both, I thought.
Was he just a bit too flat-footed? Because he didn't get enough power on him, did he? He didn't.
Yeah, he didn't. Just too polite, in my opinion. Yeah, I just really wanted him to snap his neck at it and get his body behind it, and there was just no real aggression in it. The chance he had at the edge of the box, he's got to be hitting the target with. Really, I could see he tried to be too cute and curl it in, but we're getting the chances, so that's a positive. I tell you what I have noticed as well is we are coming out of the traps flying after half time, and that's been in pretty much every game. So I'm really pleased with that, and I just can't foresee how we won't score goals. We might not score bags fulls as we are now, but these chances have got to go in. Surely we can't. There's no way we could keep missing sitters, which 2 of them were yesterday. I didn't think yesterday anyone had a bad game. I thought from 1 to 11 they all played well. I thought Manny Monf was back to his best. I thought Daniels played really well. I thought Will Sutton looked great at right back. I thought Conlon and Woods both played well. I'll come on to a point I'm going to make about them in a minute. I just thought from 1 to 11, they all had good games. But I felt after about 60 minutes, we didn't really, for the territory and possession, we didn't create much. And I felt at that point, right, we need to go up a gear now. And to go up that gear for me would have been to pull either Conlon or Woods off for Hammond. So you had Hammond, and one of those in. I think that would have made us go. That would have shown me we're trying to go through the gears and really win this. But Mickey Mellon does like to keep structurally sound, doesn't he? And he lost his head a bit at Fleetwood last week when we went for it and we nearly conceded. So it doesn't surprise me that he didn't. And I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that Conlon and Woods had bad games and they're the reason we didn't win. I'm not. I'm just thinking at that point, 60 minutes in, it's 0-0, we're on top. Can we go up a gear? And I thought the sub was a bit safe. Hannon really didn't want to come off. He was flapping his arms. It was a bit of a strange one when we were trying to win the game. As well, I know he's not the answer, but Billy Waters was on the bench, and when we 1-0 down, do we bring that other striker on and see what we can do?
I think if we do that, this is really good, and your points are all in line with what I was thinking yesterday. Exactly the same thing about the substitutions. We discussed Billy Waters. I think if you bring Billy Waters on, though, you have to go 4-4-2. You can't. Billy Waters has to play up next to the striker, doesn't he? And like that would be my reasoning for not bringing him on, because I think you'd have to change the formation. I mean, he can't go up the top on his own, can he? He can't play him out sort of as a wide on a 4-3-3. So I get that point. I totally agree with you on Hannon, by the way. Now, what is interesting, Andy, is the reading of the game from Gaz and myself and yourself compared to Dave Bradley yesterday, whose assessment of we're on the WhatsApp group, Gaz. I might have to play it. You know, it was so funny. We were having an argument back and forth. His take on it was he's just a catastrophizer, Dave. I don't know how he's feeling today, but because we lost, it's the end.
Can you play it? Come on, let's hear it.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you're getting shit from today, Dave. I thought we absolutely fucking murdered them. Just a really, really lack of the ability to finish, and taking Hannon off was just a very, very bizarre decision. He got us to 70-odd minutes, and he should have taken Woods off, who was sloppy as fuck all game, but he didn't, and he won't fucking attack when he needs to, Mellon, and he made the wrong calls at the wrong time for me. Apart from that, I thought we deserved to win the game.
I'm telling you now, if you thought Hannon had a good game, I'd go and watch a different sport, because he was absolutely fucking atrocious. His second ball wins today were probably in the low percentile. He was awful. He was so bad. He should have been subbed way earlier. But injuries, that's it. We've got Hammond to come on for him. Do you know what I mean? We haven't got enough depth. But Quigley is probably as weak as my 8-year-old son up front. He has no strength, no nastiness, no bite. Drummond was my outstanding player today. I thought he did really well. Robson as well. But Hannon, mate, I don't know what game you were watching. You must have gotten him mixed up with another player, because he was fucking shit. And I mean shit. Hawks, again, he's just a bad signing. Our goal, Hudson was completely at fault. Didn't command his area. Nowhere that he should have been beaten at the back post, because he could have just grabbed it, but he just bent his arms. So Christ knows what was going on. But again, Sutton, he's a National League player. He's not good enough. Just not good enough. We're going to be in trouble if we don't sign this goal scorer, because we are in big trouble. Big trouble.
Dave, that is a fucking abysmal take on today's game. Absolutely fucking abysmal.
Are you telling me that Hannon played well then? Because Matt, honestly, mate, I think you were watching a completely different game to me. We were poor. We had nothing up front. You can create as many chances and put as many crosses in the box as you want, but Gillingham won every single one. Quigley was not nasty enough. We haven't got anything. We're like a gay man in a fucking strip bar. Fucking useless. No point. There's just nothing.
I agree with you. I thought that we, especially in the second half, because we didn't create that much in the first half, but it was I think we were probably just slightly the better team. But second half, we came out of the traps absolutely flying, didn't we? And he did set the team up right. We hadn't conceded after 20 minutes. We were solid with Woods and Conlon, but we were still causing them problems, and it was a much better performance. Second half, we absolutely flew out of the blocks, had some really good chances, and then absolutely 100% agree with you that once we'd got to that sort of, you said 60 minutes, I just think they scored around 70 minutes. Once we got to around about that mark and it was 0-0 and we were on top, he has to go for it. He has to say, right, what I thought Woods was sloppy yesterday with his passing and his distribution. For him, he didn't have as good a game. I'm not saying he had a terrible game, but he wasn't at the level that he has been, say, against Fleetwood. So he could have brought him off. And he could have put an extra attacking player into the mix, left Conlon just sitting and say, right, put someone like Hammond on who's going to run up and down, and go for it. And I think we would have beaten them, but he didn't. And that frustrated me. That was the thing that I came away from thinking, well, we've lost the game anyway, so why not do that? Why not finish the game, finish them when we're on top? And I think that lack of ruthlessness from Mellon cost us the game yesterday, unfortunately. That and shit defending at a corner again. And Kane Drummond trying too hard to put the ball in the net again. I think when I've watched it back, our kid was like, fucking hell, he's missed a sitter there. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because I couldn't tell the angle from where we were, how tight it was and stuff. Harrott put that looping header back across goal, and Drummond just tries to get too much on it again, like he did when he missed that sitter at the Chaddy end. He's tried too hard. All he has to do with that header is just dink it in. And instead, he tries absolutely smashing it with his head, gets too much on it because he's coming from underneath it, and he sails over the bar. So I think I'm trying really hard to show some empathy and understanding with Drummond because it's, the lad needs a break. He needs a goal desperately.
Can I jump in on Drummond?
Yeah.
I think Kane Drummond is getting into positions we want our strikers in now. And I do think he absolutely needs one to fall for him. His finishing obviously isn't his natural thing. But I do think getting in those positions, surely one will fall for him soon. It has to, because he is missing some sitters. But I thought his all-round play was really good.
Well, yeah, I've got no problem with how he played yesterday. Other than that, the one thing is though, he was put up against that number 30, who was a big, strong guy, and anything that was coming physically between them two, he had no chance. Drummond's bouncing off him, and like people are a bit stronger. He's about 4 stone lighter than him. He's not got any chance. It's not his game. There was one effort where we got a ball. I think it was Harrott, who played a left-footed ball for him to run onto. We've got to start getting that ball in behind for him to run onto because of his pace. Him playing in close contact with a big defender, it's never going to work for him. He's just going to get bashed around the place, and he tries his hardest, but it's not working for him. But like I said, I think. I agree. I think there were performances that weren't, tip top yesterday. Like I said, I think Woods won the ball, was a bit sloppier than usual, but I thought all together they played pretty well, and we were unlucky to lose the game. So Dave's meltdown, like I say, he's probably feeling a bit better about it today, but that's he doesn't like losing. He's a bad loser, Dave. So Andy, what was before we listen to Mickey Mellon, what was your take on it?
Well, I've watched the last 4 games from abroad, so I've watched them all. I've seen every bit of play, and I'm pretty relaxed at the minute. If you just read out some stats from yesterday, right? We had 56% possession of the football. We had 73% pass completion compared to 68% for Gillingham, so we retained the ball better and had more of the ball. We had 11 shots to their 8, only 3 on target to their 2. Our XG, if you want to pay attention to those stats, our XG was 1.45 compared to 0.42 for Gillingham. We lost the game 1-0. That's the only important stat. But actually, we played pretty well. I thought we looked all right, and we did create some chances. And the problem we need to talk about is up front, which we should probably spend a bit of time on. Other than the Swindon game, the first 20 minutes of the Swindon game, where we just threw the game away and it was an uphill battle from that point. Actually, we've done all right in these games. That Fleetwood away game, we were the better side for 60, 70 minutes of that game, other than the first 10 minutes and last 10 minutes. Just out of interest, the XG on the Colchester home game was 3.68 compared to their 0.32. So we've actually, in the main, been pretty good. Bristol Rovers away, Mickey Mellon set up for a point, and a bit like MK Don set up for a point and achieved the point, and nothing wrong with that. And also nothing wrong with a point away at Fleetwood. Truth be known, other than the fact that we were the better side and should easily have won it. It's the home games that are letting us down. We're not picking up enough points at home. And that needs to be addressed, because obviously if this sort of form continues, we'll find ourselves in a bit of bother. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think I've seen people saying strange things like we're not as good as we were last year, or, it's not as good as the playoff team. You're like, well, compared to the team last year, we're loads better. We retain the ball better. We create more chances. We pass through the lines. The ball's on the floor more often than not. We go long as well, but it's not hoofing it every time. I've seen people saying that Kitchen is better than Robson. Nonsense. Robson's loads better than Kitchen as a footballer. Woods is a good signing, played way above this level and makes us tick. And so, yeah, I'm pretty relaxed. The elephant in the room is what we've decided to do with our strikers. And we should probably come on to that after listening to Mickey Mellon.
It's time to hear from our partner for this episode, Build Budget Expert. If you're planning building work, you may be worried about what to do next, how to choose the right architect or builder, and have concerns about going over your budget, a bit like Mickey Mellon. Build Budget Expert offers an affordable, personalised service that can guide and support you all the way from first idea to completion, helping you stay organised and prepared at every stage, save money, and importantly, reduce stress. And for all Latics fans, there's a Build Budget Expert promotion, 10% off. Just email hello@buildbudgetexpert.com and quote, we're on our way. That's buildbudgetexpert.com.
Mickey, a tough one to take.
Yeah, I always try and stand here and be honest in front of you. I think if we're going to be critical of a performance, we've got to be more ruthless in front of goal. We have to take the chances. We've only got ourselves to blame if we don't take the chances. I think as a performance in a whole, apart from probably 10 minutes before half-time, I thought we played very well. I thought we played really well. Got to some good areas, created some really, really good chances to get that first goal. I think they had two opportunities in the second half, one from the corner and one that was just a miscued shot. But we've only got ourselves to blame if we don't take the opportunity. So, I can't really be any more constructive than that. I think that's the top and the tail of it. If you do all the things that's necessary and then get the opportunities, you've got to take them. You've got to take them. If there's some other part of it that you're not getting any chances, then you work on that. Or if you get away loads of chances, then you work on that. But I think for us at the minute, it's the sealing the deal at the end of moves.
You mentioned the chances, the most notable ones probably at the start of the second half. At that stage, did you think the game was there to be taken?
I thought the game was always there to be taken. I won't make any excuses. I thought we, particularly the second half, I thought we started well today, which we've spoke about and haven't done really well. But I think today we did. And I think for all or most, in fact, no, we completely dominated the second half. But weren't good enough to put the ball in the net when it mattered, and then probably needed to be a wee bit more aggressive with some of the set plays, because we're critical sometimes of the delivery. We'll say, look, the delivery needs to be better, but the ball was getting put on the money, and you need to get results at this level, get to the end of things. We should have had a penalty. I've just watched it back. It's a Stonewaller, but I thought the referee was very, very, very poor all day. About too many players early in the game, when the game was never ever like that. It was never that type of game, and I thought he was going to send somebody off here, which would have spoiled the game as a spectacle. But I thought he was really poor, and I'm not blaming him for us missing chances, but that's a penalty. And if anybody wants to come and see it, I'll show you. It's a stone wall penalty kick. He gets his back leg swept away from him. But we had other opportunities that we didn't take. And we have to do more from, as I say, when we're putting set plays into the areas, we have to be more aggressive and go and make the keeper work more.
Particularly disappointing to concede in those circumstances.
It's a soul destroyer, isn't it? It's a kick in the plums in it. It is. Near a way of saying it. I got a corner that we should be more aggressive and more physical about, and the boy just dobs it in. To be fair to them, they're good. I like Gareth, he's a good guy, and he said, look, we got away with one there. And he was right at the end. But we can't keep saying that. We've got to be more ruthless in front of goal when the opportunities come, or be able to make the opportunities and make the goalkeeper work more. That's the tale of us at the minute.
It's very much a patched up 11, isn't it, with the number of absentees? How do you think we've given the circumstances?
I don't know, but they're all here to play, aren't they? We've got a lot of injuries, but I've never stood to them make excuses. If you've asked me, I've said they're injured and how they get injured. So I never make excuses. I think that the boys that went out, they played well. I think it was a good performance. I don't know about patched up. I think that's a bit unfair. I think at the end of the day, they're all first team players and they're all here to play, and I think they played well. Apart from that bit, I always stand here and say you've got to be good enough. If you're going to win games of football, you've got to put the ball in the back of the net. I don't go bleating about anything else, and that's it. You've got to put the ball in the back of the net when you get the opportunities, and if you don't, you won't win games of football.
No Regan Ogle and Mike Fondop, how are they?
Mike Fondop had got an injury against Fleetwood where the guy felt he meant to make a tackle and near the end of the second half. He's got a bruised knee, but puffy knee, and Regan Ogle's got a stomach muscle injury that will keep him out for a few weeks.
And just finally, we spoke yesterday, obviously, about the deadline coming up on Monday. Do you expect that activity, obviously, to take place and to help the squad as it is?
Well, the things have changed this morning, and it might prove difficult to get the one that we thought over the line. In fact, I'm looking at it now, and we're not going to get it done. We just don't have the budget to be able to go and seal the deal on it. That's just the way it is. I think the family are fantastic with us, terrific with us. But we have a budget that puts us in a sort of middle of the league sort of place. We haven't been able to get anybody out, which is fair enough. And we're going to struggle to get that one over the line unless something massively changes. But at the minute, I don't see anything changing. So, yeah, that's a bit of a blow for us, because we thought, well, I get told just that it was done. So when I spoke to you, I said, yeah, it's done, because that was the words that came to me, it's done. But things have changed a little bit, and that isn't quite the way that the parent club probably wanted it to be. And so things have changed, and yeah, at the minute, this morning I get told it's off. So we carry on and see, maybe we can do something. I don't know, but we'll have a look at it. But we don't have unlimited pots of cash here. But we have a fantastic. I want to make sure that people know that fantastic family that backs us. But before we can sort of compete and do things like that, the club has to generate more money and all the rest of it before it can compete with all these big clubs. But it was difficult. It was a difficult one this morning because we thought we had it done, but things have changed.
Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you.
There we go. I've got to say, I've got a lot of time for him, Mickey Mellon. I like him. He's a nice bloke. He is what he is, and I share his disappointment, and he really is disappointed. You can see it, and I think he's right. I think, Gillingham, I know he's only 6 games in, but they're top of the league, right? And I'm not quite sure how they're top of the league, but they are. And we've played some good sides in this division. Swindon, who beat Crewe yesterday, MK Dons, and we've not been outclassed by any of them. We are as good as the rest of this division as it stands. We just can't score enough goals. Yeah, that is the key. And obviously, Mickey was talking about a very specific target who he feels is what he needs in the team, and he's pursuing it. And it's obviously a very, very, very finely balanced situation. The question is now when you've been focused on one particular target, can you bring somebody else in time? Is there a backup? Is there a reserve option that you can bring over the line? And because it will be absolutely crucial, there's no doubt about that. Because of all the players that we've got waiting to come back, one of them isn't a centre forward who's going to score as loads of goals. Joe Garner. It's interesting. Actually, I was thinking when he was talking about penalties, we should have had a penalty. It's like who steps up to take the penalty? Who's Garner's on the pitch? It's Joe Garner. But other than that, I'm not too sure who it would be.
I don't know. I think let's worry about that when we get a penalty.
Yeah.
I think just off his interview, I mean, he's absolutely right. We have to be more clinical in front of goal. The area I'm not going to be as forgiving is that he or the club have signed forwards who aren't clinical in front of goal. So if we sign forwards who aren't clinical in front of goal, it's not realistic to expect them to be clinical in front of goal. That's that's a bit where I'm struggling to give that allowance, because actually Joe Quigley didn't score a goal last season. Kane Drummond hasn't scored many goals. Keane Harrott hasn't scored many goals. I think his idea of bringing the likes of Hawks and Stevens, etc., in was to get more goals from other areas of the pitch, which I fully support because that has been lacking for a while. But the bottom line is, if he starts Joe Quigley up front as your main target man, you want your chances to fall to him because that's why he's there. The odds of probability tell us he's not going to score many of them. He's probably score 1 for every 10 chances. Like I said, the positive is we are creating chances now and getting those chances, which we weren't the first 3 or 4 games. We seem to be now. There's a bit more fluidity about us. Totally agree with what you're saying, Matt, about the games. The teams we've played are a much higher level than what I expected. I come up with the view in this league that the top half of the National League is very similar to League Two. I think there's a massive difference. I think there's a huge gap. I think these teams we've seen are all so much more physical. They're fitter, they're faster, they're stronger. I said it on the phone, and even our Manny Momsen, Devon Daniels and Fondops, your strong lads are in a real battle every game. They're not easily out-muscling people. So I think all the games have been really enjoyable to watch. I think we're engaged in them. One of the things we noticed the last few seasons at Latics is you could hear 4,000 people just having a chat, discussing what's going on tomorrow and stuff. You're not getting that at the games now. Everyone's engaged for 90 minutes. The games they're a good competitive watch.
It's weird, Gaz, isn't it? Because I think, like, you're right. I think that the standard has improved since we were last in League Two. It feels like it's a better league in that 3 seasons, and the atmosphere at Boundary Park is significantly better. And the fans are not moaning and groaning and on the players. They're behind. We still only managed to pick up 1 point in 3 games. It's really frustrating because it's not any. There's no everything's right. Everything feels right apart from. We could easily be up there in the top 5 this season. So already, I know there's only 6 games in, but for the odd goal, scored,
we had this at the start of last season, though, Matt. We drew 5 in a row, 1-1, and we had the same issue. We need a striker, or we need Norwood fit, and then fortunately for us, Fondop found his scoring boots, and we were winning a lot of games 1-0, weren't we? We were keeping clean sheets and winning games 1-0, which is always a risk. And we've always said, haven't we, under Mickey Mellon, home form's not been very good. It's been nowhere near what it should be. Now, I know home form's been an issue for donkey's years, but when you're in the National League and you're one of the bigger clubs, that trend should shift to me with what we had compared to us, and it didn't.
Well, we've touched on why, guys. We've touched on why because like yesterday, he played an extra man in front of Woods and Conlon, and it made all the difference.
Yeah, that's the way forward at home. It has to be. But I still think, I mean, he trusts Conlon and he trusts Woods, and I get it. They're his older, more senior pros, and at 0-0, he don't want to risk taking one of them off as he loses a game. But this is the point where we're going, go on, roll the dice. Because when Hammond came on, he was progressive. He was making those forward runs. He was positive. But let's see him and Hannant doing it. The game was played in Gillingham's half in the second half yesterday. I didn't feel we needed to hold in midfielders.
No.
We could have sacrificed one of them. But yesterday, for me, our two best players were Will Sutton and Luke Hannant, and they were both subbed. So,
did you hear that, Dave Bradley? he said they were both terrible.
Well, he's absolutely wrong. He's full of shit.
I know. I couldn't. We had this conversation yesterday.
No, there was no one terrible. They all had 7, 8 out of 10 games. You know, the chances, and people are going to get agitated with it. Something has to give for us at home, and we're hoping that, you know, we see more of those periods where we're really peppering the goal. The crowd is really good, Matt, and you're right. It's because the game's being played in front of that net, you know, and especially in the second half. It's up in front of us, you know, you can get it going.
Well, when you have to be up out of your seat sometimes, don't you? Like, you know, quickly shot. Oh, we all thought that had gone in. You're up and you're down, and there's that in the energy.
And you suck the ball into the net, don't you?
Yeah,
that's how it goes.
It's a big difference. Yeah.
One thing, and Andy will probably be able to chip into this. One thing when Mellon said about, you know, we've got to generate funds to be able to put the budget back in and stuff. The home crowd yesterday was 1,800 down from the first game. Now, I know your first game is always a bigger crowd, but that's a significant drop for me because Gillingham brought the biggest away following, just short of 600 as well. So I'm a little bit worried that as a club, we've not quite capitalised and run on the momentum of promotion. I feel like we've put a bit of a puncture in the tyre, and we really, really... We could have ran away with this, and a 1,600 drop after 2 games. It's a bit of a worry.
I think it's down to season tickets. I think we've got to try and sell more. So you've got to get more season tickets out there, because when it comes down to paying on the day and making those like last minute decisions, it's too expensive.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, Matt. You couldn't even buy one for 5 days after Wembley, even if you wanted to pay full price. They were taken off sale. Yeah. So that is a huge, huge brain fart.
But you know, I do know. Go on, Andy.
I don't think that's the reason why 1,600 people were, you know, down on the home gate. Though you can't put it down to that. You know, there are a lot of people.
Last weekend of August, just before the summer holidays,
could you put last
factor?
Last weekend of August, people are still away. It's back to school next week, innit? They've got stuff to get for the kids. We haven't won a game yet. You know, it's been a difficult start. People are probably opting not to do it, but I'm not sure you'd have put 1,600 on if you'd have had 5 days of season ticket sales available, or even with the early bird discount still available. I'm not sure it would have made that much a difference. Maybe a couple hundred possibly, but not the difference that you're talking about. I mean, the other point to note is Mickey Mellon said in that interview and in the interview with BBC Radio Manchester, he said that we've got a middle of the road budget. In League Two, so a mid-table budget. I believe it's probably slightly higher than that. I think we're top half budget, admittedly not near the higher echelons. So the other point of note is he's got a reasonably competitive budget already, even with the income that's been generated from season ticket sales and what the Rothwells are prepared to put forward. But he's chosen to spend that on a forward line of Joe Quigley, Mike Fondop, Joe Garner, Billy Waters, and Kane Drummond. That's his decision, and that's on him. And I don't see and have never seen how signing those players was going to end up being a good idea. Now, I concede that there aren't many 20-goal-a-season strikers knocking about. We did this a few weeks ago. There are only a couple in the whole of the Football League that managed that total last season. So there aren't lots to choose from, and they're going to cost a princely sum in order to get them in. But we had one. Admittedly, he was a bit of trouble in some respects, and admittedly he's getting on a bit, and admittedly he gets injured a lot. But he's already scored more goals for Fleetwood coming off the bench than our entire forward line has managed this season. So we opted not to go with that because we don't want people in the squad that will cause trouble. But I mean, in in football, you're going to have some difficult characters to manage in any sports team. Not everybody's going to be nice.
Andy, I'm going to have to take you to task on this, mate. No, I'm sorry. We're on about James Norwood. Let's call a spade a spade. We're on about James Norwood, and apparently he's an absolute cock around the squad. So and what brilliant? Be a cock if you're available for 40 games out of the season. Not if you're only available for 15. Not if you're fucking off to Nando's 10 minutes before a kickoff when you're on the club's time. Now, I know people see this, it's worth it if he scores 15 goals, whatever. The fact with Norwood now is, we saw him at Fleetwood, he weren't even playing at 50%. He's not sprinting, he's not competing, he is carrying a serious injury that needs surgery. And he probably won't even be on the radar at Christmas because he'll be out injured. He's not getting more than 10, 15 minutes, other than last week when Pete Wild did us a massive favour by starting him because he let the narrative, overcome these tactics, really, because he was absolutely useless. You can tell he's injured. You can absolutely tell he's injured. Fit and firing James Norwood, I'd agree with you. But for me, his decline, his injury, the baggage, the wage, it's not worth it for me at this point anymore. And I think if you don't score that goal at Wembley, it's not even a discussion. We're all, wishing him probably not very well.
100%. He's done. If he hasn't even scored that goal at Wembley, he's not really done anything in a Latics shirt, has he? And look, I think with all due respect to Fleetwood Town, if James Norwood was anywhere near a decent level, he's not playing for Fleetwood Town. So in League Two, you know what I mean? So I think we draw a line under James Norwood. He's gone. I'm not arsed personally. No. I'd rather have Joe Garner playing like Joe Garner did for the last 3 games in the playoffs over James Norwood, because his contribution to the overall game is far, far superior, and he will finish given the chance. Unfortunately, Joe Garner is also at the end of his career, even older than James Norwood, and he's not featured this season.
And his injury record's just as bad.
Exactly.
Because he missed exactly the same amount last season, and he's not been available at all this season.
But you've got to factor in his influence off the pitch.
Apparently a great character around the squad, isn't he? So there's other value in having him there. Now, I think just going back to the budget and the signings and stuff like that, getting Billy Waters last year on a 2-year deal seems crazy, right?
Joe Quigley 2-year deal.
Yeah,
I don't mind Joe Quigley. I think he played well yesterday. Maybe, but you've already got a big lump. But let me finish the point. You want to play with a big lump.
I didn't finish mine earlier.
All right, okay, we'll come back to it. You want to start with a big. Well, you were making a point about James Norwood, though. Like, that's done now, isn't it? We move on. The players we've got, Fondop ran the line, if you like, on his own last season. Played every single, he needed some respite, didn't he? He needed somebody to come in and take the pressure off him. I think Quigley's better at that role than Mike Fondop. His headers are more precise. He gets himself into good positions. He's not finished, but I think he's done pretty well. Considering new club and all that, we've obviously not got a budget to sign on a permanent basis the kind of striker that we want. So that we've obviously thought, well, we need to bulk out the forward line with Joe Quigley, Pace, and Kane, Drummond, whatever. Like we say, Waters, bit of a weird one. Don't know why that is. Harrott has shown that he has something about him, but again, he's more of a play him off to the side. It's obviously only in the loan market that we can bring somebody in that is going to be that person until obviously the next season or whatever we have to offload Waters and whoever. But the loan market is the only way to get let's just say a Jorgen Nathan caliber player to play up top, and that's obviously even. With that in mind, that the cost of it of bringing somebody in on loan from, let's say, the Championship or the Premier League is still is prohibitive, unfortunately. So go on, finish your point, Andy.
So I think he's been profligate with that forward line, budget, and I'm pretty confident that he was given a budget at the start of the season, which was a mid-table budget. And the Rothwells have already released more money into that budget and made it bigger yet again. And he has signed Robson and Quigley with that budget. Hasn't moved any players out. And so therefore the cupboard is bare. And that is on McDermott, Mellon, and his coaching staff. And we're trying to, I don't think it's any secret. Everyone pretty much knows that we're trying to sign Mickey Mellon Jr. from Burnley. And Burnley want a significant chunk of his wages contributing, and they probably want a full season loan, and we can't afford that. So we were looking for a loan until January, and they're not prepared to accept that. So we're going to miss out. Now, the question I've got is, where is the sense in signing Joe Quigley if you've already got a lump up front in Fondop, when you know that you need somebody who can score goals? Now, it's a lovely story. Mike's tired, so we'll give him some help. Hang on a minute. We need a finisher first before you start signing another lump to play alongside a finisher. So I think that's where we have a bit of an issue here, and we're gonna catch a cold with it, I think, because if it seems likely, we can't move any players out and we can't get a finisher in to contribute with goals, then we're going to find it hard to score many. I'm not overly concerned because, as we've all discussed, like, our general play is pretty good. We're competing in games. No one's blowing us away. No one's making us look rubbish, other than 20 minutes against Swindon and a half against Accrington in the Cup. I'm not going to worry about it too much. But we're going to find ourselves pretty much where we are, which is in the lower reaches of the league. And you've got one eye constantly over your shoulder, just looking beneath us to see just how far away we are from that bottom two. And it's going to be a test of everyone's patience. Gaz sounds much more patient than he did at Dagenham last year when Mickey Mellon gave him a volley, which is good. And we'll hope that everybody feels that way as well, because we might have to batten down the hatches a bit until we get to January and see if we can sort it out then. You've just got to hope that there's a nice buffer between us and 23rd and 24th. But I think that is the point here is that, as you know, I definitely wouldn't have given Mike Fondop a 2-year deal. He'd earned the right for a contract. He was unprepared to sign a 1-year deal and would only sign a 2-year deal. And if that's the decision they've made, then that's the one they've made. But signing Quigley as well on a 2-year deal, having Waters on a 2-year deal, I think we've wasted money on forwards, and we should have been better with our recruitment up front.
I agree.
I mean, you can't argue with. There's a lot of logic in what you're saying there. I mean, we also have to, like. I mean, I'm going to try. Let's rekindle the old saying of keep the faith, and let's hope that Quigley can score goals. He scored 14 in a season for Chesterfield. Fondop scored best part of 20 goals for us before. Presumably, Kane Drummond in training can find the goal. There's just an issue around composure. It might just be that we're just having one of those patches where nothing's going for us, and those lads will score goals, and not to mention some of the other lads that the more attack-minded players that we've got in the squad now. When we get Pep back, we all know how good his delivery is. So on trying to be optimistic with what we've got, then let's hope that those lads can contribute a significant number of goals. And let's also hope that whatever budget we did have for Michael Mellon, we're able to shift to bring somebody else in who's actually going to be able to deliver. Because I think what we've got till Monday, is it when the podcast is out, 1st of September?
It's 24 hours from today, tomorrow evening.
Yeah.
I think just to add on to what you're both saying, I don't think we were actively pursuing Quigley. I think he's just someone Mellon liked and became available. And again, probably only wanted to accept 2 years because it's a relocation up north. So I do fully agree with Andy there. I think we jumped in two-footed with Quigley, and I don't think we needed to. I don't think he'd have been snapped up at this point still, given his record. So I think we could have afforded to wait. I think it's criminal we've done the exact same thing this year as what we did with Josh Stones last year. We've just put all our eggs in one basket, and it's not turned out. And for whatever reason, we're not astute enough in this transfer market. And if we're getting a bit of a reputation amongst other clubs as a bit of a soft touch, or they don't really know what they're doing, there's something not quite right. But we are actually having the piss taken out of us in the transfer market. I still think it has to get someone in who's going to get at least 10 goals. I think as one of your 4 strikers, I think Mike Fondop can still contribute there'll be horses for courses for him, and I still think he could probably get 10 goals or something. But I don't think it should be on him to be the main man again. I don't think that's his. Well, obviously it's not his natural game. He's never scored that many goals before, other than last season. But it's fairly obvious, isn't it? We need an actual natural goal scorer, but it's going to be really hard to come by.
One of the other things to point out is there's a few accounts on Twitter. One called the Lower Tiers, which tweets stuff about lower league football league teams. And in League Two, I presume they've got these numbers from somewhere like, what's that web? Transfermarket.com, the one that Abdallah used to use to value his players. Yeah. I'll take it with a pinch of salt, but I just found it interesting, is that the highest valued squad in League Two, probably comes as no surprise, it's MK Dons, just short of £7.5 million worth of sort of asset value in that squad. And we are the lowest at 1.2 million on that metric. Barnet in front of us at 1.8. And that's another point, really, for me, which is, excuse me, Mickey talked about we can't shell out more money until we generate more income for the club. And part of this lack of income to the club is what's happened to it over previous years, not having an academy because of the cretins that ran us into non-league in the first place and all that sort of stuff. There's still a backlog and an overhang from those sorts of things. But at the same time, you do look at some of the signings that Mickey Mellon makes, is the resale value on them is low. And, we've got a lot of aging older players, Kieran Morris, as an example. Their resale value is minimal or zero. And so, therefore, the opportunity for us to generate income, therefore to reinvest in the squad, is still, for some time yet, somewhat harmed. And that's an ongoing issue, isn't it? Which we feel. You still see teams in League Two selling players for big money to Championship team. We haven't done that since George Edmondson, have we?
We've got three sellable assets potentially. Matt Hudson, because he's on a 3-year deal.
Yeah,
and then your other two are Ollie Hammond and Will Sutton, purely because of their age. They're only potentially sellable assets. They might not go on to ever play league football again after. But to me, it's almost a bit like at the moment, we can't really spend to go up. We don't think we're going to go down, so we can perhaps manage the money and the resources as we are now. So for an Ollie Hammond or a Will Sutton, for example, if there becomes a point this season where we can say to them both, right, you're both playing the next 20 games, you start in the next 20 games in your preferred position, and regardless of how you play, you're going to be playing. We'll know at that point then, are these sellable assets or are they not good enough? But as it stands, Will Sutton coming in for 1 and then not playing for 6 and then coming back in for another at right back, Ollie Hammond doing the same, you're never going to ever see if you've got a George Edmondson on your hands, ever. So dare I say it, it's almost a little bit Simon Cornyish this year, where actually we don't really need to release funds because we think we'll be okay. It's a little bit like that. And I don't mean to I'm not speaking ill of anyone when I say that. That's just a bit of the vibe.
The Boundary Park Alert System is sponsored by Pendle New Tech, a family-run Lancashire business you can rely on for everything fire safety related, including supply and installation, maintenance, testing, certification, alarms, risk assessments, like I said, anything fire safety related. But what do I know? Visit pendlenutech.com and they'll sort you right out. Check the show notes for more information. It's time to hear from our partner for this episode, Build Budget Expert. If you're planning building work, you may be worried about what to do next, how to choose the right architect or builder, and have concerns about going over your budget, a bit like Mickey Mellon. Build Budget Expert offers an affordable, personalised service that can guide and support you all the way from first idea to completion. And for all Latics fans, there's a Build Budget Expert promotion, 10% off. Just email hello@buildbudgetexpert.com and quote, "We're on our way.
Just one thing we've not mentioned while we've been on, and I'll get absolutely roasted if I don't mention it off people who I speak to, is the injury situation. This now needs seriously looking at for me, because it can't just be bad luck for 2 years. It can't be. There has to be something in how the players are conditioned, not conditioned, what they're eating, when they're training. There has to be something, because they're not just impact injuries. I know we're being told they're impact injuries, but they're not just impact injuries.
Well, to be fair, a lot of them are impact injuries, aren't they? I mean, Ogles isn't, obviously. It's a muscle strain. But Kai Payne's was an impact injury. He got kicked at Dundee United. Stevens has broke a bone in his foot. Like these are.
But he's broke a bone in his foot, but through crossing a ball, that's not an impact injury. It's just so. Is it the conditioning? Is it the Chapel Row training pitch? There's something as well, because I'm almost certain that every time someone gets crunched, they're not out for 6 weeks. But that's what seems to happen to us. So it's got to be in and around the conditioning as well.
I think
something has to be looked at.
I think, in fairness, what we need to do is we need to bring Hodgie on, don't we? He's the strength and conditioning guy, and he said he'd come on. So I need to arrange that, and he can. I'll make sure he gets these questions and we'll see, because, like I said, we don't really pay attention to what happens at other clubs, do we? Really, we don't really know what goes on.
They're challenging questions that you'd have to put to him, and potentially a little bit awkward, because like the first thing we got told when we signed him was, enjoy half your players being out injured, lads, and it is happening. I mean, we might get a striker over the line tomorrow. Chances are he's probably going to be out injured in 2 weeks. I was asked a question last night. What's your first team, Gaz, when everyone's fully fit? I said it's erroneous, because they're never going to have a fully fit squad, which doesn't happen anyway. But when we get 6 back, another 6 are out. And the only person who I can think off the top of my head who's never really injured, and he's now out, is Mike Fondop. He's the one who's been constantly available, really, over the last 2 years. Everyone else, Mark Kitchen had to put in that bracket as well. Everyone else now, he's picking up even players we sign who don't come with injury records, then end up injured. But Kai Payne, his injury record was terrible before we signed him. He played 4 games for us, goes back to Wigan, plays 1 game, he's out 6 months, comes back to us, plays 45 minutes for Dundee, and he's out again. So impact injury or not, he just gets injured. So to me, it just needs looking at, because your budget is being eaten up in the physio room. All these players shouldn't be injured.
Yeah, I mean, we should get Hodgie on, and we would put all those questions to him. I've had a chat to him, actually, at Dagenham away last year in the bar, and he seemed a nice bloke and was very prepared to have a chat, and he offered some explanations to me privately then. So I think it would be a good podcast interview to do. And we can try and understand just how much of it is luck and not, or otherwise. I mean, we sign in older players often. I mean, 31 to 34-year-old players, then they're more likely going to have niggles and injuries because of their age, and that has to play a factor as well. So that's not necessarily down to the conditioning; that's down to just the profile of players that we have. But we should, and the
players he knows as well, Andy. The players from he's had in the past, most of these.
Yeah, no, so we should know them personally. Some of them, yeah, they're like Morris and Hawks and what have you that we've pulled in from Tranmere. Did he work at Shrewsbury as well, Hodgie? Did he?
Sorry, I'm talking about Mickey Mellon here, not Hodgie.
Oh no, yeah. I'm talking about the strength and conditioning coach, but he knows those players as well, doesn't he? Having worked at Tranmere, well, it is a debate worth having. Have you seen today? Wigan have made Johnny Smith available for loan.
Just seen it before we came on. Yeah,
I mean, he'd be ideal, wouldn't he?
Could we afford him?
No, absolutely not. Is my point of view is, and I'll just repeat again, is we have a budget that I think is top half, not playoff budget, but top half budget, and we've spent it and a bit more because more money has been released to sign Robson and Quigley. So,
can I put a question to you both?
Go on. I was just going to ask one.
I've seen it on Twitter that people have said, like, so we're giving the likes of Sutton, Hammond, Fondop, Quigley, whoever, these new deals or whatever. I can't. Do you really think that they're going to be on that much of a wage? It's massively cropping out of the budget of who we can and can't sign. I know collectively it adds up, but they're not big earners, them guys. So how much is available for how long, and why have we gone to the table with Burnley knowing financially the odds are massively stacked against us?
Well, Burnley. So if you think about, I don't know what the average wage in League Two is, but let's call it, for the sake of argument, £1,800. Thereabouts. I know that almost all the players who were looking for renewed contracts following promotion all wanted a pay rise. That was, I mean, I guess it's to be expected, but all their agents were working for pay rises. So they've all likely got a slight bump up. And then the players that we brought in, the likes of Woods and Daniels and Pett, obviously, that we signed, they're all going to be, you'd imagine, above average in terms of their wage. And so all of this, we'll have a lot of players on or around that average or slightly above average wage. Your Ollie Hammonds and your Will Suttons be younger, probably underneath that. But we've got a lot of players that we don't have many players in the squad that have come through an academy because we've not had an academy, and that's going to catch up with us when we're signing 31 to 34-year-old pros who are all going to be demanding at least $2,000 over a week, and it is going to add up.
Look, let's look at where we're at. Like we've come from being minus everything, in terms of facilities and staff and finances and everything. We're less than nothing, and now we are ahead of schedule. We got it back into league really in 3 seasons. None of us were expecting it at Christmas. None of us were expecting it in March last year. Do you know what I mean? Or even in April to be up. So we're back here. There's still work to do. Repairing, like you said, Andy. We're off the pace. We've got a lot of work to do. The money we spend goes on wages. We're not spending big money on players. You're up against teams in this division that are shelling out big money for players.
Matt,
we're not able to do that, are we? So,
Matt, just to interject while you're on money, there is as well this additional cost of being an EFL club that people aren't factoring in or maybe not be aware about. Like, I don't know, insurances, different. All apparently these up to 200-300k of extra costs per year, per season. So being an EFL owner is totally different to being a National League owner. And I know that when the EFL
you've got the increased income coming from Premier League payments, so the income increases and the cost increases at the same time, and then you've got the budget restrictions to work to, and all of that. There becomes more administration being a football league club for sure. But we should. We're going to lose money every season. The Rothwells are continuing to pump in money above and beyond what our means are every season. They were losing 10 grand a day 2 seasons ago. God knows what it was last season. Hopefully that gap will not be as big this season, but who knows? We won't know till the accounts are out in future years.
What's got the give there then, Andy? Where does the give take, or where does it break, or do they get another investor in, or because we've both said there's no one to sell? What do we do? Do you rely on a cut run? What, you don't get it?
The thing is, they're investing in the future, aren't they? They've got the Sports Town project is up and running. They're looking at all these other ways to bring, the education and all that kind of stuff. The club is now back in the Football League where we belong, right? We've seen on the performances that we've put together this season, we'll be all right this season. We'll compete. We'll stay in the division. We know we need some goals, but we're going to be okay. And then next season, the academy is a year on. The Sports Town project is a year on. I think we all want to bounce up the league. we want to get out of this division. We want to get into League One. We want to be playing Bolton and Wigan and Stockport and Barnsley and Huddersfield. And we want the big away ends and we want the big away days. We all want that. We want it desperately. This season, exactly. This season, we stay in this. Everything moves forward another step. And then next season, we get rid of some of the players. And hopefully, we will have to have this conversation at some point this season. Is Mellon going to sign the new deal? What's going to happen next this season? And all that kind of stuff. But the club will be moving another step up towards where it needs to be. We're not back to where we need to be yet. We're on that. We're on that journey. We're on that process. But we know from everything that's going on, from the investment that's going into the club, which is being managed in a way that the board and the owners feel is sustainable. So they're not saying to Mickey Mellon, right, here's extra whatever it is that you need to sign, Junior. We can't really afford it in the budget, but we're going to give it you anyway. They've said, no, this is it. And that's the way it's got to be done, because they've got to do it in a sustainable, as sustainable a manner as they can afford, so that they don't jeopardise the long-term future of the football club. So that's just the way it is. We all want to get excited. This season could be a really good season, because we've seen we're not a million miles off it. So we'll have to see. It could go one way or the other. It could be that we're just not quite good enough, and we finish 17th. But if we do, so what? If we've had a good season and we know that next season is going to be that little bit better, because this season is already a fuckload better than last season. We're not in that shit division anymore. We're not looking over our shoulders anymore. We're not going to Ebbsfleet and all that stuff. That's why I'm happy. I came away yesterday disappointed in the result. I thought we could have won the game, but like you said, Gaz, it was a good game of football.
It is, and it's not going to be what people want to hear saying. It's not going to be what people want to hear in saying, most important thing is to stay up, but it is this year. That doesn't mean we're preparing for a relegation battle. It just means the first part of your business plan revolves around still being in this division next year, and then you build from there. Now, the question I'll put to you is, if we don't get a striker over the line tomorrow, A, does there have to be someone responsible and accountable? And if yes, B, who is it in your opinion?
Well, I think the accountability. Sorry, go on, Andy.
The accountability and responsibility only really falls if you fall out of the league, right? For me, is if, as I think we all agree, if we were to finish 17th, be bobbing around mid-table, I'd be pretty relaxed this season, having snuck our way in right at the death into this
the
division.
Back door. Absolutely.
With implausibly from where we were in about April time or March time. So I'd be pretty relaxed. I don't think there's any sort of recriminations at this particular juncture. But I have got one eye on the recruitment team's performance of signing strikers. I don't think they've been pretty good at working out midfielders that can retain and pass the ball, and we've improved it. When we had Sheeran and Shelton in midfield, we were all aghast at how we couldn't retain a football and pass it to each other. They've fixed that problem. Defensively, we look pretty sound. The goalkeeper has a shaky time here and there, but I think he's looked pretty good this season on the whole.
Yeah, he has.
So, we're okay, but Mellon has yet to convince me that recruitment structure and team identify I'd just like to see us sign a young striker that you back and comes good over the course of a year or two from a non-league team somewhere, like other teams have done before, like Peterborough do, like Notts County have done. We constantly go for players that seem a little bit over the hill, or just have got a body of work behind them that proves that they don't score goals. Let's draw
an analogy between the building of the football team and the building of the football club there, because what we've done over the last few seasons is we've put together a solid back line, right, which is the foundations of the football club. The same things have been done. Then we needed a little bit more creativity. We needed a little bit more finesse. So we've got that in midfield now. The club is doing far more of the more sort of like presentation stuff a lot better. The place looks better. Everything's better. The strikers are the finishing touches, and they're the most expensive thing. Like we are competing against everybody else in the Football League and against people in the National League. Look at what Luke told us on the podcast about, the budgets and the way that, because you rent their stadium and we own ours, just the difference it makes in terms of what they spend every year on their costs and their overheads. It's so much different. So we are competing with everybody else with all kinds of different budgets, and the football club isn't there yet. It doesn't have the resources to go out and to get that. When we tried to gamble on people from the lower leagues with someone like Kurt Willoughby, didn't we? And obviously, I mean, I know it's a different setup now and everything else, but that didn't work. So for me, it's kind of the cherry on the top, really. We do need it, but we're just not in, the recruitment team and Mickey Mellon are up against everybody else, and it's a really, really tough market to find those players. There's not many of them out there, and the ones with the bigger budgets get them.
I still think we'd need an athlete in the centre of midfield, like an athlete who can run, who's 6'2", 6'3", who can run around and get about the pitch. I noticed yesterday that the referee was bigger than Conlon and Woods, and honestly, he was. And I'm just thinking, get us a bloody athlete in there. The difference Jorgen Nathan made at 19-year-old because he was 6'2", 6'3", who can run. I mean, he was a good player, but he's not this massive extra special talent who's going to go on to dominate the Premier League, is he? That profile of player who's got legs, who can get around, who's an athlete, I think that makes a world of difference to us. That's why in the playoffs, he dropped on Conlon for the playoffs. He had to make a decision, didn't he? But that legs in the middle went in, and we scored 3 goals in a game, 3 consecutive games running. That was with the strikers we've still got now.
Yeah, well, look, I'm sure everybody else is, in the football league is looking for a big athletic striker, midfielder who can use the ball, put a tackle in as well. Hopefully. I just don't think we've just
again though. The real disappointing thing about Jorgen Nathan is I think he was close to coming on loan until Barnsley got a couple of injuries in pre-season, and then he stumbled into starting in the first team and did well. And that's
unused sub yesterday, 2 games in a row now.
He's been on the bench a couple of times, and I believe a couple of Barnsley fans are sort of getting on his back a little bit because he's not the finished article in League One. But
bring him home.
I don't think there's much chance of it happening because he has contributed. That they're going to keep him in and around their first team squad. But there was a chance in the summer, and I guess that, to Matt's point, it makes it difficult when you think you're there. I think Mickey Mellon thinks he's been there a couple of times, thinks he's got Josh Stones, thinks he's got Jorgen Nathan, thinks he's got Mickey Mellon Jr., and then the rug gets pulled from under his feet. I just think that they need to manage that budget a little bit better, possibly, particularly with strikers. But anyway, what do I know? Should we do Latic's mind, Matt?
Yeah. How did you get on last time, guys?
I think I got 5 or 6, but it was a fluke.
Considering the state you were in last time, that's very good.
The questions obviously fell my way.
Well, that's it. They can do. Right. Well, let's give it a go. Good luck. This Mind is sponsored by Oldham Athletic Supporters Foundation, investing in the fans, the club, and the community. Join today at oasf.co.uk for just £12 a year. OASF, because we're stronger together.
Latic's mind. Do you know what you're on about?
Which striker suffered an injury on his home debut versus Swindon Town in 1993?
Ian Olney.
Wrong, it was Sean McCarthy. In what year was the Angry Owl club crest introduced?
Oh, crikey. 2001.
Wrong, it was 2011. In April 2022, Latics lost 2-1 to Salford to tumble out of the Football League. Who scored Latic's only goal that day?
Oh, crikey. Carl Piergiani.
Wrong, it was Davis Keeler-Dunn. Who was Latic's top scorer in their first season in the Premier League?
Ian Olney.
Correct. Up to and including the last game, when was Latic's last Football League win? Who was it against?
Ebbs. Oh, Football League, not National League.
Correct.
Oh, it was against Bristol Rovers at home.
It was Stevenage away.
Shit, yeah, it was that 1-0. Oh.
Who did Latic sign from Stoke City in November 1995?
Pass.
Which Latic's keeper made his debut in the National League Cup versus Stoke City under-21s last season?
Maloney.
Correct. Which defender did Latics sign from Bury in September 2001?
Defender, Chris Armstrong.
Correct. Who scored Latics' last goal against Manchester United in a competitive game?
Andy Ritchie.
Wrong, it was Neil Poynton in the FA Cup semi-final replay. Which Latics striker signed for Hartlepool United this summer?
Alex Reid.
Correct. From September 2002 to October 2002, how many League and Cup games on the bounce did Latics win?
6.
Wrong, it was 8.
Did you not hear the beeps?
No.
No,
they've gone this end.
Oh, have they? Oh, we didn't hear them.
Yeah, I don't think you got any more right anyway.
Okay. When did it beep? After what question?
Well, I thought there might be a bit of a lag because you started a bit after it started, but it wasn't that long.
Okay.
So,
right.
Yeah.
All right.
Because listeners might be going, we've heard the beeps. Why is he still asking him questions?
All right. No, we didn't hear it. All right.
Yeah.
You had one pass, mate, didn't you? Matt, who did Latics sign from Stoke City in November 1995?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Toddy Orligson.
Oh, yeah.
It's really not my era, that kind of year. Anything like from 99 onwards, I'm decent, but like the Warnock and Graham Sharp eras, nah. I know bugger all.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
I mean, no, you say it. It's like, I can kind of remember, but yeah. Go on, how did he get on?
1, 2, 3. You got 4 right.
Not bad. That'll do me.
Decent,
respectable.
It is respectable.
I should have got that Stevenage one. And I should have got the Davies Keeler Dunn one, to be honest.
That Stevenage one was I've forgotten his name. Who scored a header?
PG Arney, wasn't it?
No,
it was that. It was that. Oh God, put that in the question.
It was that lad who came from.
We've had it
from Norway.
We've
from Norway, it's a Norwegian club.
He was what was it? He played in Saudi Arabia or Israel or something, didn't he?
He was crap.
Yeah, it's his
with
own
H,
goal.
His name.
Yeah,
H.
Yeah,
right, I'm gonna have to find it now. It's really annoying.
Yeah.
Oh God, what was he called?
Oh, was it with an? Was it an N? It was an N or a H. I can't remember. People are screaming at us now, going, "This is the answer."
Jamie Hopcutt.
Hopcutt. That's it. I knew it was a H.
Yes. Yeah. Hopcutt. Yeah. Yeah.
Jamie Hopcutt.
Yeah. That was
Matt. Was you in the Rochdale Road end yesterday?
Yeah, I was.
Did you notice that there was no hot water or soap in the toilets?
I didn't, because I didn't go to the toilet. No. There's usually hot water, isn't there? There's usually soap. Usually wash my hands when I go in there, I think.
Yeah, just noticed it yesterday. Well, a few people mentioned it in one of the chats. I'm in that the toilets in the Rocky Road and were like covered in graffiti, toilet pipes burst or something, and I don't know, but I've just said let the club know, kind of thing.
Bit of housekeeping there from Gaz, if anyone's listening.
We're the fire experts, fire safety experts at Pendle New Tech. We train fire marshals, fire safety marshals at Pendle New Tech.
Pendle New Tech have fire experts across the UK covering all your local and national needs. With over 100 years experience in the fire safety industry, you know that you can trust
Pendle New Tech.
Right, enough of that now.
Yeah. So anyway, listen, it's not such a bad thing when, we notice things like soap's missing and there's no hot water. We've had it a lot worse. I think on the whole, the match day experience is pretty good. It just needs a bloody win.
It does, but I still think at the moment the football's probably the best bit about the club. I think it's a bit. Honestly, I'm come away from games frustrated and agitated we've not won, but for the right reasons, if that makes sense. We're in games. It's not passive, which Melon Ball has been very passive in the past. Whether that's because we're having to compete because we're playing like the equivalents of who might be top of the National League every week, but I still think lots of reasons to be positive and optimistic. And like I said, one of the big ones for me yesterday was getting plan A right from the start. Manny Month being well back to his best, and the chances, although missed, were positive that they were really good chances.
Yeah, I mean, when you feel like you're not a million miles away, there's nothing more more despondent a feeling than we've been there. We've been there, looking at your team, going, "This lot couldn't." I mean, when you know
I'm
you're
not thinking that at all. No,
you're not getting. You know you're not going to be scoring goals. You know you're not going to get a win. You know you can't keep a clean sheet, and you know you're just sliding in 3-4. We've been there. We've done that. We're not at that point at the minute. But we do need probably to sign somebody before the deadline if we're going to. Well, it's going to make it a damn sight easier to convert these close games, and they have all been close games, into wins. That's what we need. Please, Rothwells, Luke, I know you're listening. Just have a rummage down the back of the couch. Go and rummage down the back of the seat in your Mustang and see if you can find a few quid down there. There must be some knocking about.
I'll tell you, they could ask for some money. Ask Cheltenham, because we looked at the ticket prices yesterday on the Booze Bus group, and Cheltenham on the day, 29 quid on the day.
Jesus.
What wasn't Bristol Rovers something similar the other day?
Bristol Rovers cost me 27 because I made a decision to go down on the day. 27 quid.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, isn't it?
It's scandalous because, like, you're paying. I mean, even Latics in Rochdale Road, and 6 quid for a small chips and gravy, and 3 quid for a can of pop, and it's becoming a bit. I think that's partly why the attendances are down. If I'm honest, it's an expensive gig.
Yeah, and it's only in League Two, so it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, things only ever go up in price. So,
are you guys going to Cambridge at the weekend?
Yep.
No, I would have done, but I fancied that one. But I've got gigs. I've got quite a few gigs, so get booked in like way advance of the football season starting. So Cambridge would have been a nice little trip out. Definitely would have gone. But and Cheltenham as well. But I've got 2 gigs on that night. So
I'm in Benidorm when we've got Cheltenham.
Well, you'll be able to watch
on a booze bus trip.
No, they can only be done once every 10 years. They were that heavy.
Yeah.
And obviously it was a massive struggle getting Brad treated in the hospital because they don't treat seals. So it was tough. But Cambridge away will be a lovely day out on the booze bus.
Yeah.
That's going to be really nice.
Lovely
I'll see you there, mate.
What we're going to start doing is putting some fold-away tables in. Everyone's going to bring like some sausage roll sandwiches. When we get there, we're going to lay a table out next to the bus and have a bit of a buffet.
That sounds nice.
Well, it does. It's just, our reputation precedes us.
Absolutely. With
our ring-fence tickets, actually, that's what we'll probably do. We'll put them on there.
You get one of those like white picket fences to go around your tables, which can be sort of like a metaphor for your ring-fence tickets.
Will Bin Man as the official EFL final boss? He gets, the final decision on all things this way. But Cambridge should be a lovely day out. It's going to be a tough game, though. It's going to be a really tough game.
Hey, you know what? They all are, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're all tough games. Like hopefully Cheltenham are struggling. So if we haven't won by Cheltenham, which hopefully we will have because it's still a few weeks away. That'll be the win we need. But yeah, I don't feel like it's not a million miles away, and neither's the end of this podcast because it's been going on now for over an hour and 20 minutes. So let's call it a day, guys. It's been a long one because you've been on and you're a good talker. You've made lots of good points. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, just before I go, big shout out to our friend around the grounds who made his return yesterday. He's had a bit of a poorly summer. His eyes haven't been well, and he's openly said it's affected his mental health and stuff. But it was absolutely brilliant to see him back yesterday. We owe him forever for the content he created for us in the playoffs. So
he did
nice
indeed. Yeah, fair play to him. Unfortunately, his winning streak came to an end, which is a shame. But it can't go on forever. I've just remembered in the nick of time that I need to wish somebody a happy 50th birthday. It's Andy Worthington. He's 50. He was 50 on the 30th. which was is that today or yesterday? Yesterday, and that's from Alex. So Andy Worthington, happy 50th birthday from Alex. I'm glad I remember.
Is that the lad who's just gone Torquay?
I don't know. Is that the one that signed for us?
Yeah, we got him from Yeovil.
What was he called?
Matt
Worthington. So part of the maybe part of the Worthington family. Maybe part of the Worthington. But happy birthday. I hope you've had a good weekend. I hope last week's losing didn't spoil your 50th, Andy. I'm sure it didn't. Right. We're done. Dave Bradley knows absolutely fuck all about football or rugby or anything, but he is sexy.
Hey Dave, did you know that listeners can now buy us a coffee or any other kind of hot beverage?
Ooh.
What's your favourite hot beverage, Dave?
A macchiato.
And how do you like your macchiato?
Black with lots of milk. Oh.
No cream?
No.
Well, if you want to buy Dave a
macchiato,
then go to buymeacoffee.com/We Are Oldham. I'll just have a Nescafe.
Ooh. Thank you, listeners.